My question is about croaking and consciousness. As individual consciousnesses, when we croak, do we remain the same individual consciousness?
Yes.
Because I've heard you say that we are not actually individual souls.
Yes, that's true too.
So, an example would be, how long does Jerry keep his consciousness as Jerry once he's croaked?
Eternally.
Eternally. How does that fill in with reincarnation?
Well, we'll come back around to that because there's distortion all over that word.
Yeah.
But we want you for just a moment to, instead of talking about consciousness, use the word perception. And then think about yourself as an individual and give your undivided attention to us. Give your undivided attention to us. Acknowledge that for right now, we are all that exist of any importance anywhere in your world, and so you're wanting to give your undivided attention to us. In fact, we are even blocking the view of the others. They can't see you at all, and they're giving your undivided attention to us. And now turn and look. Perceive that there are others. In other words, broaden your perspective and acknowledge that it's not just you visiting with us. It's a lot of us all here together. And then think about the others that are roaming around on this ship doing all kinds of other things, and realize that you have the ability to perceive as narrowly or as broadly as you choose. And that there is satisfaction in some of all of that. That sometimes you like to step back and take the broad view, and to some that feels like the general view. Or you could step back and take the broad view, and to source, that's the more specific, more view of more momentum. In other words, Esther really thought a lot about what you're asking when Jerry made his transition, because when the two of them were together, she really thought she had his undivided attention. She didn't. She didn't have his undivided attention. She clamored for it, but she didn't have his undivided attention. She was shocked to hear stories from so many people about things that Jerry had said to them. I don't remember ever allowing Jerry to talk to you without me. It was sort of the way she felt. I thought I was in on every conversation. I thought I knew everything he thought and everything he wanted and everything he knew, because they talked incessantly when the two of them were together. But as far as Esther was concerned, Jerry existed for her pleasure and her pleasure only. In other words, it sort of felt that way to her, and it felt that way to him to some degree too. But Jerry was much broader, even in his human form, than Esther knew him to be. So when he made his transition, she did not want him to be part of Abraham. She knew he was, but she did not want him to be now part of Abraham and not still Jerry. It really bothered her to think of him being part of that collective soup, because she had been experiencing Abraham for all of those years. She knew how we felt. She knew what her relationship with us was. She expected that to continue. But she didn't want Jerry to just drift away and morph into what that experience had been with Abraham. She wanted Jerry to remain uniquely Jerry. For a long time, she couldn't find him because she kept looking where he wasn't. She kept looking at the places where he had been. She kept looking for him where he wasn't and not finding him. And then gradually, as that view of him began to diffuse a little bit, she finally heard us say, don't look at where he was, and don't try to make that who he now is, except that he is now something more. She did not like that. She did not want him to be different than he had been. She wanted his interests still to be. So, as she focused more and more, she began to notice, as she stopped deliberately missing him. Now that sounds strange, but she was deliberately missing him, because when you look for something where you know it isn't going to be, you're going to find the absence of it. In other words, no point in looking in his clothes closet anymore. He's not in there. He's not going to wear those clothes anymore. And so those clothes can hurt your heart, or you can accept them as something no longer interested by Jerry. So after a little while, Esther began to accept where he wasn't. And then she began to look where he was, or to feel where he was. And she began to notice that all of the things that they had been interested in, he was still interested in. Not just the Abraham work, not just the editing of the recordings, not just the picking of the track titles, or not just the choosing of the book material, or not just the editing and putting the comma in the right place. Oh, it was delightful to Esther to discover the skills that she had that she thought were only his. It was delightful for her to be the translator of those things that she knew were uniquely Jerry's. But it was also really fun to walk through a furniture store and look at something and realize it was the perfect thing for the perfect place, and to further realize Jerry had been out there ahead finding it. They didn't stumble into the store together like they used to do and wander around, the salesperson saying, "Can I help you?" and Jerry always saying, "We're looking for something to want." Now Jerry, from his broader view, knows what she's looking for, knows where it's going, knows where it is, and is giving Esther impulses, so Esther is finding her way right to those already found things. And as she stands there and looks at it and feels the satisfaction of its perfection and knows Jerry's right there, involved in that, eager about it, and thrilled, not just that she has found this thing that he has found for her, but that she knows that he has found it for her. In other words, that there is no ending to anyone, that we are all eternal beings, and that the perception of human is distorted enough that it keeps you from the joyous relationships that we all have that are eternal, you see. So we want to talk about this croaking thing, and we'd love to be disrespectful about death because there isn't any. But the most significant thing that we want you to feel about it is that we are interested in what you are interested in. And when we say we mean anyone who has ever held any kind of interest in the thing that you are interested in this moment in time. You have infinite intelligence flooding with you, to you, and through you. And your work is to realize that, you see, which means if you're relaxed and trusting this inspiration, if you believe in the existence of the ever after, if you are understanding that we are eternal beings and that there is no ending, if you accept that all that has ever been is now resulted in what now is, and what now is not just about what you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. It's what we're hearing and seeing and smelling and tasting and touching through you. You think we don't eat with you? You think we don't make love with you? You think we do not enjoy the massage that you receive here on this ship with you? You think that we do not enjoy the translation of the beautiful time-space reality through your eyes and through your ears and through your nose? In other words, the best you feel is when you are allowing your awareness of what we are perceiving, you see. And so when we say to you that we are all in this together, we cannot find enough words through Esther's vocabulary to help you to understand that we are all in this together. There is no death ever. So what happened? What happened when Jerry, or any of you, what happened when you came into this physical form? You became a focuser of something specifically unique to you. And as you became that specific focuser of something that is unique to you, that specific focus is continuing even though the specific focus of your physical body is no more. And that's what that inspiration is that you receive, you see. There's not one of you who stands as an individual, because no one ever stands all alone perceiving without the flow of others flowing through you, you see. But when you feel awful, when you feel empty, when you are grieving, or when you're in despair, those moments, you're doing the best job ever of pinching yourself off from the perceiving of others. Not us perceiving through you, your awareness of us perceiving through you. Does that make sense to you? We never stop looking through your eyes. We love what you see, and we love who you are. We never stop looking through you. So how does that make you feel? You feel used? You are in that sense. You are in that sense. You are consciousness that has the ability, the opportunity to be as broad or as narrow as you choose to be, as expansive as you choose to be. So once Esther became satisfied that Jerry was still interested in the clothing she's choosing and interested in the meal she's eating, or interested in the book that she's writing, or interested in the grandchildren or the friends or the conversation with someone. Once she convinced herself that, oh, he was still there and still interested, still eager, then she thought, oh, what else do you know? What else do you know? What can you now help me to know? What more do you know that I didn't know that you know? Now she's letting him be Abraham. Now she's letting him be that collective consciousness. Now she doesn't need him to be only what she thought he was. He will always be that and so much more. And so will all of you, you see.